Welcome back. I've decided to finish off this series of careers and job hunting with the last section or last part, which is how to prepare for interviews. Now, an interview, the most simplest definition, is an interaction between two people when applying for a position or a vacancy in a company. It could be termed as one party, the interviewee, and the interviewer. The interviewer is the person who has a position that the interview wants to apply for. Now, interviews can be fraught with difficulties only if you haven't prepared for the interview. Now, my best advice for you, if you are preparing for an interview, is if you are accepted for an interview after you've applied, maybe via application form, or you've had a telephone interview, or you sent your CV, that's good news, because what they've done is they've looked at your application and they found out that you have the necessary skills, experience, and knowledge to be invited to an interview. So if you ever get invited to an interview, that's good news, not bad news. The bad news is that you do need to prepare for it. So the best way to prepare is first to find out about the company. Do some research on the company. Because if you do some research on the company, you may have an edge over the other applicants. In fact, a lot of companies expect you to do research on the company because otherwise they're thinking, well, why did you bother to show up? If you're looking to wing it, you can try this, but 9 times out of 10 you'll fail because you won't be prepared for the questions that you're going to get asked. And sometimes they will grill you on your background, especially if you've got gaps in your CV and your application form. Now, not to worry, everyone gets nervous in interviews, even me, and I've been to loads over the years. You could have, I'll just go through the variety of interviews that you may have. You may have an assessment day where they assess you and they may interview on the actual day. You may have an open day where they invite people to come in and they may interview on that day. You may have an interview where another person is sat by the interview taking notes, usually called an observer. They may also ask you questions. So you may have 2 people interviewing you. Or if it's quite a high profile career, maybe you're trying for senior management in the public sector, or you may be joining a big law firm or accountancy company. They may do what's called a panel interview. Now, each interview what I would do is prepare separately. If you think each interview is going to be the same, they may have the same questions, but it's going to be a different interviewer. So what I would suggest you do is first, yes, do your research. Research about the company. Find out how big they are, what their sales are, who their customers are, what the main managers are, the team. And you can do this very easily. You can go on, on Google and find out about the companies. You can also find out how the company treats employees by going on Google or Glassdoor. Glassdoor is a company where employees or ex-employees put anonymous statements about their employer, whether they're good, bad, or terrible. The other thing I would suggest you do is, because an interview is almost like a structured conversation. So it is a conversation, but it's a structured one. There's a start, there's a middle, and a finish. Is write any questions that you have for their interview. Because if you go in there and they wrap up the interview and they say, do you have any questions? And you just sit there, it's just gonna put doubts in their mind, because why are you not asking questions? Now, the questions don't have to be like 20 or 100 questions. You could just do 5 or 10 questions. 5 questions would be adequate, you know. Good questions to ask is what's the next stage? What are the training and development opportunities? What are the promotional aspects? Will I be working in the team? I would stay clear of asking what the salary is until you've been offered the position. Then you can negotiate that. I mean, you've got to be very careful because if you go in there and ask for salary, whereas someone else asks for what the promotional opportunities are or the training, they may think, well, this person's just here for the money. And although we do all need money, you know, it's as important as oxygen. What you want to do is you want to go in there and add value. A question that comes up that I used to hate being asked, excuse me, was where do you see yourself in 5 years? I specifically hate that question after I'd been made redundant. But you've got to be careful. Now, if you don't understand the question, what I would suggest is ask them to repeat the question again and just say, well, I hope to be in a senior position in this company. And it could be, you could start off, let's just take a simple scenario as retail. You could be working in retail in a department store, a supermarket, or a clothes shop, for instance, and you want to go to the next level. So the next level would probably be supervisor, team leader. You say that, well, what I'm hoping to do is with the training, and this is where you ask about the promotional opportunities in the company. I would like to become either a senior sales assistant or a key holder team leader. And then you could say, then next I would like to be assistant manager and manager and area manager. Obviously, if it's a company that you really want to work for, then you will be looking to go up the career ladder. Now, if you're looking for something just while you're searching for that career opportunity, still say to them that you're looking for, you know, to add value to the company, and saying that, look, this I still, if you've got like management opportunities, then yes, I would be interested in becoming a manager or going into positions if they have a head office which is nearby to you. You can go into marketing, IT, training, finance. The list is endless. But what you got to establish is that when you go to that interview, you want that person that's interviewing you to make sure that they offer you that position rather than someone else. This is where research and planning is very essential. If you try and wing it, I guarantee you may get lucky once. But if you get found out and you don't know anything about the company, then you'll be looking for your next job. But what I would suggest you do is apply for those positions. If you've got like an 80% match, go right ahead. If you're 50%, still apply. If you're 30%, then I would question whether they will offer you an interview. You can still try, but I found in my experience and people that I spoke to, if you've got a 50, 60% and above chance and you get the interview, you've got more of a chance of the employer offering you the position. Now, if you go in there and you wow them and you come out feeling really great and you think, yes, I've nailed this interview, and the next you get a rejection letter or a phone call, usually they send you a letter saying, thank you for applying. Unfortunately, on this occasion, you haven't been successful. We had other candidates who had more experience. We wish you all the best of career. Okay, now you can stump up and down and have a tantrum to get it out of your system. The more professional way would be, okay, it's their loss. I was the best candidate, but obviously they took someone else. So what you do is you dust yourself off and you get going, because the fact that you got the interview means that you will get other interviews. And as you get better, you will find that you'll get the opposite of rejection, which is loads of offers. Now, this can be a problem in itself because then if you get 3 or 4 offers, which is a good position to be in. I've been in a position, not to brag, but I have on several occasions. Would be to then decide which is giving you the best offer because it puts you in that strong position. Now, if you're currently unemployed, there may be a tendency to take the first job that you've been offered. That will be down to you. That's a hard question to answer because obviously, if you're finding the finances are being tough and the bills never stop, uh, I understand that as well. Then take the position. You know, see it. You might like it. Take the position, whether it's part time or full time, whether it's even temporary. Because I'll tell you one thing: it's easier to find another position when you're working than it is when you're not working. And I know it's very unfair, especially for people who've been made redundant. Um, because at the end of the day, the redundancy is not your fault. You take responsibility for finding your next position. But just remember, like I said this in my last YouTube video, you will go through the emotions. I did, but it's not you that's been made redundant. It's the position. Remember, you've gained knowledge, experience. You're unique. There's no one in the history of the earth that will ever be the same as you. Even if you're identical twins, you have this different fingerprints. You're unique. For that unique uh, skills and experiences you have, all you have to do is package it and then sell it to your future employer. And you can do this, and it will help that with practice. Um, like I said, if you do need any help with career coaching, or if you're looking to break into your first career, I do a free 45-minute to 1 hour Skype call, and I'll share you with my successes and failures. I've had both. Um, and I'll tell you what the effective techniques they are. Now, I would recommend that you buy some books on Amazon, or if you can't, go to your library and borrow a whole load of books on interviews. Go through them. If you see any good nuggets of information, take them and use them. One question I would ask at the end of an interview is, "How do you think I did?" Now, they might not always give you feedback straight away, but just say to them one question is, the person that you're looking for, how can they profitably add value to the organization? Now, with that question, you've sort of like nailed or you've gone to the core of what they're looking for. And if they usually they get impressed because no one else asks that question. And the reason that people don't ask that question is because they think, "Ah, yes, I've nailed it." Or otherwise they go out with their head in their hands saying, "Oh, I messed up." Even if you feel that you didn't get the position, ask that question. Um, because if you can get feedback, it can improve on your next interview that you go for. Now, if the amount of interviews you go to, that's down to you. But I would say don't go to more than 2 a day because it can be quite draining. I once went to about 6 or 7 interviews in one day. Now that's good in one way, but obviously I was a lot younger then, and after a while, I think after the 7th interview, I got really bored. So I would suggest 2, maximum 3. I think 2 is quite enough actually because you do need to prepare for each individual interview individually. If they do ask, another question to ask is, what's the next stage? Is there a second interview, or will you be making a decision? Now, usually, some companies may do a second interview, and they'll say they'll be in touch with everyone in the first week. Now, if you get offered a second interview, that's even better because you've already done the first hurdle. So the second interview, you know about the company. They may just so if it's a branch or a store, they may introduce you may get interviewed by the manager or the supervisor or assistant manager of the store, or if it's an office, the line manager. Now, you've already found out about the company. You've managed to secure the first interview, and they're calling you for the second interview. So the second interview is just to confirm their decision that they've made the right decision, because it costs a lot of money to interview people. Um, what I would also do is if you've got a friend or a sibling and you could do mock interviews. Now, mock interviews would help you, or just even practice in front of the mirror before you go. It'll give you the confidence. It's rather like an actor auditioning for a play or a movie role. You think actors just get films offered like that? No, especially if they're trying to break into the profession. They have to audition. Even top successful actors and Hollywood stars have to audition if the role is very challenging or quite meatiful, as they call it. Um, some books I would recommend is How to Get a Job You Will Love by John Lees, Job Hunting 3.0 by Richard Moore. In fact, all his books are excellent. I've got all of them, and they've helped me. You know, How to Keep Your Job, and there's a couple others. Uh, if you go on his website, richardmoore.com, he's got all his books on there. But Job Hunting 3.0, I would definitely recommend. And How to Get a Job You Love by John Lees. Um, the interview book by John Lees is very good as well. If you're looking for, if you're finding interviews tough, then I recommend you get in contact with Elizabeth Conley of the Interview Skills Clinic. She basically teaches and coaches people on how to be good at interviews. Yes, there is a cost to it, but if I was you, and if you're finding you're not getting the interviews, then I look at it as an investment. Remember what else I said. You need to invest in yourself. If you invest in yourself, you'll get the highest return on investment. Some people invest in their cars and some people invest in property, which is great. But the best investment you get is in yourself. Remember, as long as you got this, the human mind, which is creates everything, everything, before you see it, you need to believe it, and you need to believe in yourself. Now, if you want to develop confidence as well, then start going out and talking to people. Like I said in my previous video on networking, strike up a conversation. Now, it does mean getting out of your comfort zone, but if you want to be successful, you have to get out of your comfort zone. I'll leave you with a quote that I was told by a successful entrepreneur, who I won't name at this moment because there's so many. There is no growth in the comfort zone, and there's no growth. I'll start again. There is no comfort in the growth zone, and there's no growth in the comfort zone. So remember that. And also remember, you can do things. Don't ever say to yourself, you can't, and second guess yourself. Yeah, you may have doubts, but if you keep on focusing where you want to go, you will be successful. Not only in your jobs, in your careers, even in your businesses. Now, I've come to the end of the ones on job hunting careers. So my next ones were going to be on if anyone wants to start their own business, become an entrepreneur. Over the past years, I've met very successful entrepreneurs, and I've met local business people as well. I've even interviewed some of them, and I can give you some advice on how to set up your own business if you are interested. Like I said, I'll give a free 45-minute to 1 hour Skype call. I'll also be talking about each step of a business on the next. So there'll be maybe several videos on how to set up your business. Now, I don't profess to know everything. Not everyone does. But what I'm saying is, one thing I will suggest is if you are starting a business, is don't get too hung up on the idea. Now, I said I would offer anyone a free 45-minute to 1 hour Skype call, and I keep to my promises. So if you are interested, you can either email me at raj024malhotra@gmail.com, or you can Skype me, which is invite me on Skype, which is my ID is raj024_1, or we can connect on LinkedIn. I also have a Twitter channel. A website will be coming soon. And there are other things I've got in the pipeline. But in this case, I mean, like I said, look, don't give up because you will get better. Job hunting is a skill in itself. If you learn that skill, you'll always be employed because there is no lifetime job security, but there's lifetime employability. Yeah. So on that note, I'll leave you to it. I hope you enjoyed this YouTube channel. Please share. If you have any comments, even if they're constructive, please add the comments. This is me, Raj Malhotra, saying goodbye. And I'll see you soon on the next YouTube video. And it will be on how to start your own business and entrepreneurship. And I will be doing some more on sales because that is my background. And I'll maybe looking to do some more on personal development as well. So until then, you take care. Bye bye.